unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Seek, and ye shall find. David Benavidez, the Mexican Monster, versus Anthony Lions in the Camp. Lions in the Camp, Lions in the Camp, Lions in the Camp, Lions in the Camp Yarde. What really happened? In this video, I'm going to let you know just that. Give you guys my post-fight breakdown. Benavidez, Yarde. Let's jump to it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Boxing is back. We had a card full of some pretty good fights, and the main event was Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. In this video, I'm going to let you know what really happened, which is my original series. Shout out, before I get started, to everybody that dropped by for the Boxing Ego watch party. I could not do this without you guys. And you guys make the channel in general what it is. So if you ever get any value from any of my content, let me earn your subscription. You can encourage that by engaging with the content, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Now, Benavidez Yarde, this is my personal opinion. I didn't mind the fight. I thought it was a good fight on paper. But the second the fight got announced, I said, Benavidez, Benavidez, Benavidez. If you remember, you can type I remember. To me, this is no shade to Anthony Yarde. He seems like a cool dude, definitely a warrior, comes in shape, comes to fight. But for me, I was actually looking at this fight as one of the easiest predictions for a main event that we've had in quite some time. And if you notice, I told you my main event, meaning the one I was anticipating more. Some people were like Bam Rodriguez and Mason Noakes, but I told you my main event for me was Devin Haney versus Brian Norman, right? And I've already made what really happened for that fight. Norman versus Haney. Devin Haney did the deal, became a champion, looked good in doing it, third weight class. But for more, check that particular video. But for Benavidez and Yarde, I honestly didn't understand why so many people were picking Yarde. And again, I'm not saying this to shade the man or kick a man while he's down or nothing. He's valiant. He's a warrior. I respect him. But I knew Benavidez was going to win, and I figured it would be by stoppage. And for that, I got my prediction 100% accurate. Now, on these, what really happens, I give you the good, I give you the bad, and I give you the ugly. To be honest, I'll start with the ugly. I'll start with the bad and the ugly. For me, this is my honest opinion. The beating that Yarde took, the sustained beating that Anthony Yarde took, I feel like it is over for him at top level, right? Meaning, you look at it, Yarde, despite being game and trying his best, every time he stepped up to the higher echelon, the bigger names, right, he ended up losing. And he lost by stoppage. When we're talking about big names, we're talking about Sergey Kovalev. And again, he was game. He hurt Kovalev really bad to the point where Kovalev's trainer, Buddy McGirt, was like, if you give me another round like that, I'm going to stop it. But there's one of my favorite movies called Apocalypto, directed by Mel Gibson. And I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene where the bad guy, the villain, he was like, oh, we almost got away. And then the villain's like, almost. And he was like, that's your name, almost. You almost saved this. And again, I don't want to spoil the movie in case you haven't seen it, but great flick. And he kept calling him almost throughout the movie because he was almost able to do something. So that's kind of Yarde, almost. Gave Kovalev a run for his money, hurt him, but couldn't cash in the lottery ticket. Beterbiev, he got stopped in that fight, stopped in the Kovalev fight, now stopped by Benavidez. And the fourth loss is to Lyndon Arthur, where he had to fight 3 times or whatever. So, top level, I don't know where he really goes from here. You know what I mean? Top level, Kovalev, Beterbiev, Benavidez, they all stopped you. So, it's not that you're not coming in shape. It's not that you're not a warrior. You have power. Look, you got an 88% knockout ratio. You're 6 feet tall. So you got decent size for light heavyweight in terms of height. It's just, I don't know. It's not happening for you. So that's all I'll say for the bad and the ugly. And let me add, I understand he has a good relationship with his trainer, but I've urged this to so many UK fighters. They don't listen, right? And I'm not saying, that sounded crazy because some people are like, you're just a YouTuber. Why listen to, whatever. Don't listen to me and then have your career where it's at right now. The choice is yours. But what I was talking about is I am against UK fighters not coming to America and training out here. You don't necessarily have to live out here. That would be good to get used to. Like, America's just a faster pace. I lived in England. It's a faster pace. It's definitely bigger than the UK. Completely different experience. But in terms of boxing, the sparring's different. The work's different. The amount of work you can get, the attitude, the mentality. So I've urged Anthony Joshua. Now Joshua, little by little, I had been saying it for years that he should leave the Rob McCracken dude. But Joshua was too prideful. It was like, I started at Finchley and Rob McCracken, he was my coach, so meet with me. I went to, right? And you stay with him, and then Ruiz cooked you, and you were getting cooked and stuff like that. And then you finally left, I don't even remember, maybe the Usyk fight or something like that, but you left him eventually. These fighters should have did what Lennox Lewis did, which is early in your career, before you start taking fatal L's and lose confidence, get you an Emmanuel Stewart, get you an American trainer. I think that would have helped Anthony Yarde a lot because he has rhythm, he has skill, he has power. And I'm not even trying to knock his coach. I understand it looks like they have good synergy and chemistry and stuff like that. But you got to understand, a fighter's shelf life is this big. You got to cram everything into that window and get what you need done. And that's it. So at this point, 3 step-up fights, big names, you get knocked out in all of them. And you have a Lyndon Arthur who's very domestic level. I've watched him fight, right? Domestic level dude, and he beat you too. So I think he should have switched trainers a long time ago. But now at his current age, 34 with 31 bouts and all these losses, I don't know if it would even make a difference. You're so far, you already took massive punishment in your last fight with Benavidez, and you took punishment versus Kovalev and Beterbiev. So that has a compounding effect. So I'm not trying to be negative Nancy, but that's how I see it when it comes to Anthony Yarde and his career. So that's the bad and the ugly for me. And again, it's a shame that these fighters don't make these decisions until their careers like hanging on by a thread. Like Anthony Joshua's fighting Jake Paul. Now he wants to train with Team Usyk. You've been through Derek James, the Ben Davison, the Rob McCracken, and you were teaming up. You went with Virgil Hunter, checked him out, Robert Garcia, Freddie Roach, bouncing all around. And then now you're teaming up with Usyk for the Jake Paul. It's just like that's the opposite of what I think these fighters should do. When I say get with an American trainer, I mean early in your career, like Lennox Lewis, went to the Kronk gym, got it cracking, learn, done. Not bounce around, not get cooked, lose, look horrible, get knocked out, get beat, discourage yourself, lose confidence, and then start bouncing around like Joshua to 4 or 5 different trainers. That is not, I don't like that. Chad Dawson did that, right? Where he had 1 million trainers. Ryan Garcia is doing that. I'm not a fan of that because why do you need so many, like your dad's training you and then Joe Goossen's training you and then you leave Joe Goossen. Maybe you lose to Tank and then you leave him and you get with Derek James. Then you get with Eddie Reynoso in there. Somewhere in there was Eddie Ray. So I think it was Eddie Reynoso, his dad, Eddie Reynoso, Joe Goossen. Then you went to Derek James. Then I think you left Derek James and went back to Eddie Reynoso. And then I don't know if they kicked you out the gym. You went back to Derek James. Now you about to fight Barrios. So you said your dad's training you. I mean, what's up with these fighters, bro? What is up with the bouncing around stuff? So I don't believe I'm a type of person like if this is the spectrum, you can go all the way to the left, all the way to the right. If this is the spectrum, you should be somewhere in the middle, right? Make the transition to get out the UK, come to America where it's gritty, learn boxing. You'll have top shelf, especially heavyweights and stuff, top heavyweights you can work with, blah, blah, blah. And get that dog. There's a lot of UK fighters that don't really have that dog in them. Like when the going gets tough, they don't. To me, at least. Like Sam Noakes, he did good. He showed some ruggedness, but in general, there's a lot of. It's not the same as like fighters from USA and Mexico and different things like that. For me, so I think Yarde should have been looked for another trainer, but now it's probably too late. So that's the bad and the ugly. The good is all for David Benavidez. He says he's fighting Zurdo at cruiserweight, so he goes on to a big Cinco de Mayo fight. He gets his first knockout at light heavyweight. He looks splendid, spectacular, knocks him out in the 7th round. And there's not much to break down as far as the fight, but I'll try my best. It was a 7-round fight, culminating with Benavidez beating the brakes off of Yarde, and he had already dropped him twice maybe, and then he got stopped on his feet. He was just getting hit with crazy stuff. Benavidez, the final blow, he was shelled up on the ropes, which if you watch my watch party, I said he need to get off them ropes. Didn't do it, laid on the ropes, started gassing out, naturally getting fatigued, plus Benavidez is pounding on you like a Congo drum, so that doesn't help. And he was languishing on the ropes and getting killed on the ropes. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Then he was so depleted, he didn't have no energy or anything. And Benavidez, he like a sports car. Once it gets going, he out of here. And Benavidez was like, ah! And then the final one was, I think, like a short left hook where he's like, bah! And he just caught him with that left hook. And Yarde's head was like, boom. Referee was like, P. Diddy voice. No. Great stoppage, rightful stoppage. He got cooked. Before that, so in the early rounds, it was quasi-competitive. Mind you, Benavidez won every single round to me. So it was still competitive. There were spots where Yarde was doing some good work, but he was throwing a lot of singles, which is not really going to be the way to beat a guy like Benavidez because he throws volume. And Benavidez started off, I don't want to say slow because it's not slow for most fighters, but slow for what he's capable of doing. And then every round, he kind of started to ratchet up the work, ratchet up the volume. So it was like a crescendo. It was a gradual. And I likened it to this, and I think it's a very good example. When Yarde fought Arthur Beterbiev put him on the grill. So you get the nice grill marks. You cook the meat, the tri-tip on the grill. The way Benavidez fights is more like a crock pot, a slow cooker. So when you're making carnitas, you're making barbacoa, you're making pulled pork or tri-tip or whatever, and you cook low and slow, your whole house will smell good. You'll smell the aromas, and you throw it earlier in the morning or the night before or whatever. You put it in the crock pot, and then 8 hours, 10 hours later, whatever, low and slow, put it on low. 8 hours, 10 hours later, the meat off the bone, like, is super tender, it's juicy, it's tender. That's how, that's how Benavidez fights. It's more of a gradual, like, kind of attrition, and then he just wear you out and just start dogging you. But it's like a slow roast in a slow cooker, a crock pot, versus Beterbiev is just like boom, boom, super heavy handed. You got cooked, you on the grill, fight gets ruled out. Benavidez, it almost might be worse because you have to endure it for longer. It's not like Benavidez has no power. He does have power, but it at 175, maybe not as dramatic as single shots from Beterbiev, but it's too overwhelming. And when he was cooking, when he really around round 5, 6, right? These rounds, he started to really pick up the tempo, and then the face of Yarde started to wear the markings, and he started to get bloodied up, and he started looking very exasperated. Now, there was a moment where Benavidez was cooking, and he got a BS 2-point deduction from the referee. I thought that was horrible. Here's why. Benavidez started to dog. I told you, he started to ratchet up the attack, and he was landing. His timing got better. His accuracy got better. Earlier in the fight, I think Yarde was throwing singles, but he was doing enough to keep Benavidez honest, and he has some pop. And I think Benavidez felt that. So, he took his time. He just jab, go to the body, left to the body, little hook. But he was like breaking his man down. Like, it was more of a break you down. When Benavidez is in there with a puncher like David Lemieux, Yarde, I think he tends to measure his work, and he's a little bit more economical to start. If he don't respect you, like, I'm not saying he don't respect you as a person, but if he don't feel like there's that much threat, then he'll just get busy early. You know what I mean? Like, But when it's a big puncher, he wants to break David Morrell, yards and stuff. He wants to pick his shots. No problem with that. But anywho, he gets to one of the later rounds, and he started to really hone in, and it was like a heat-seeking missile. Hone in on Anthony Yarde, started to blaze him. Just blaze, right? And then Yarde looked completely depleted. Like, energy was like, boo. That health bar was, boo. Like, it was shrinking crazy. And Benavidez, just pounding on him. Crazy. And then Yarde, he was so backed into like the turnbuckle in the corner, he didn't even have enough energy and like spacing to take a knee. So he kind of just plopped down. And mid-sequence, Benavidez is trying to cook the man. So he kind of like fell, but he's being crowded by Benavidez, so to speak. So as he's falling, he's like halfway down, not all the way down. So Benavidez continues to chop the tree. Boom, 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 land shots. And then Yarde was like, oh, he hit me. He hit me when I was down. But it was really, I would have took no point off that if I was a referee, because it was how it played out. Like, he's in mid-strike. Do you know how hard it is to like just pull your punch when you're like you want the stoppage, you're hurting the person, and then they decide to like sit down, like fall down, and they kind of like fall on the turnbuckle, on the ropes. So they weren't really like fully, down. So he continued working until you were like really down. And I guess the referee looked at it as Benavidez threw a foul and hit a downed opponent like they did with Roy Jones and Montel Griffin, right? But it's crazy how certain refs will call it. Triple G, he fought David Lemieux, and David Lemieux was clearly down, and Triple G was like, bow, when he was on his knee, and it was clear as day. And the referee, I don't believe, deducted a point from Golovkin. So it's funny how certain refs will do a warning. Some will like see it and let it slide, but then other people will be like, oh, 1 point, or 2 points, or whatever they took for it. And I thought that was corny. That didn't. It was more the sequencing of it. It just didn't make sense to deduct the point. But ultimately, you didn't save him because a round or two later, he got cooked anyway. And back on the ropes, totally out of energy, out of breath. Like, he started pushing his punches. There was nothing behind his punches. And Benavidez just boom, 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 kept working. And it's impressive to watch Benavidez because he's creative with his arsenal. Them years of Kelly Pavlik and Triple G sparring and all that, he gets real creative. And he just breaks you down. And that's what happened in Yarde. He just started getting cooked on the rope. Now, there was also another like very dumb moment where before the stoppage, probably before the knockdowns, Yarde was again on the ropes. See, this is why I didn't pick Yarde, and I didn't understand people who were picking Yarde. I told you Benavidez was going to win. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Yarde, he like starts off good, and then he fades in the fight. And he doesn't have like awareness, and I don't think he has the coaching that'll like resurrect him. So it's like these big dips and like drop-offs in some of his fights, right? And he looks like a different fighter because like a guy like Yarde at his best when he's fresh, he's moving, he's countering some upper body movement. He looking cute on the ropes, catch and shoot. You know what I mean? He's working. So I'm like, all right, cool. But then when he start getting hurt, when he start getting tired or whatever, he starts to lose his form. He was literally like pushing his punches on the ropes. He was just getting teed off on. And what happened to all the upper body movement? You know what I mean? Like, Floyd Mayweather is one of the GOATs at fighting off the ropes. None of these new fighters know how to fight off the ropes good like Floyd Mayweather. So they might be able to do it in small pockets or stanzas, but a lot of these fighters, they like Erickson Lubin. See, I really do this boxing. I really talk boxing, bro. I know I'm a YouTuber, but I really talk this boxing talk. You feel me? Yee! Erickson Lubin. Earlier round one or whatever, maybe he didn't look so bad on the ropes, but he stayed on the ropes. And he was like trying to shell up. You're in there with a big puncher like Virgil Ortiz, kind of, okay, Mexican-American, Mexican, Ecuadorian, American, and Benavidez. And Virgil's known for power, also throws a lot of punches and volume. Why would Erickson Lubin chill on the ropes and thinking like he ain't going to punch through the guard and just accept that? Why are you accepting that? And again, for Yarde, same thing. He on the ropes getting cooked. Earlier, maybe he was like countering and like throwing some stuff back, and it was looking cute. It was looking sweet. But he started to lose his form, and Benavidez made adjustments to increase his accuracy. And he's like a shark in the water. When he senses that there's a wounded animal or blood, he coming for you. And ultimately, Yarde, he lost his form, and he just started getting hit. But anyway, the dumb moment was this. Yarde was on the ropes. Benavidez had one hand was tied up behind his head or something, right? One hand was behind his head and it was being held some kind of way or whatever. But Benavidez, I believe it was his left hand, was still open. So just this arm is like out of commission. It's clenched up or whatever. When you got one arm free, you can still work. So Benavidez started ripping shots and he was like, and he literally threw 18 I counted. It was like 18 unanswered left hands. And then the final one, right before the bell, was like a big shot, like bow. And I'm like, that's such a rookie mistake from Anthony Yarde. And when I seen that, I'm like, you might as well just quit the fight right now. I ain't never seen that. I seen Roy Jones, and I was very impressed with it. I grew up on Roy, watching Roy. I seen him do like 4 or 5 hooks, like pop, 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 pop. This man, David Benavidez, threw his same hand 18 times, I counted, and there was no counter, no like real attempt to counter in between that. I've never seen that I can remember in a live fight where a person, you let them tee off on you with 18 unanswered punches. This was like such a crazy sequence, bro. He's like just going crazy, like bow, 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 bow. And the ref is right there, not breaking you up. I don't know if Yarde's like complaining, hey, ref, he's hitting me. He got one hand free. You're not doing a good job of protecting yourself because he was downstairs. Bow, 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 bow. Like, and then now the ref broke you, and then he got the one last shot off. That was horrible. I don't know what. I've never seen that. I don't know what Yarde was thinking, but that was kind of the beginning of the end. Like, you're letting Benavidez just rock you up and get like free shots on instead of like clinching him better, trying to get his other arm or like shelling up better. And some of those shots look like hurtful, impactful shots. So it's no surprise post fight, these are Benavidez's trunks. They were completely like, he said, welcome to monstrous world or whatever. But his trunks were covered in blood. Benavidez is nasty. He got a crazy mean streak. He's like literally was battering. That looked crazy. I've seen this for the ref. I've seen the ref, Tony Weeks, was like this one time where he had it all splatter on him. But the fighter, he got all of the white on his trunks is crazy. And he was landing these big shots on the ropes. So credit to Yarde for being tough and accepting the challenge, but he was getting rocked. He was getting rock-a-bide, especially in rounds 5, 6, and 7. Like, Benavidez was just teeing off, and it was like beating him like a stepchild or something. So Yarde, like I said, he's tough, but I don't spend too much time like over crediting people for being tough, because that's how you get CTE and brain damage and stuff. Like, oh, I'm tough. Look at me, I'm tough. I could absorb punishment. Look at this man's face, bro. Like, honestly, that is not normal, though. His face looked crazy. Hey, you guys, Rocky Road. You were getting hit with some big shots. Big shots. Look at these shots. And I told you he needed to get off the ropes. And he didn't listen. And he started getting tired, and you're getting hit with big shots. And the crazy thing is, Benavidez is so overwhelming. He's like so overwhelming that when Yarde hit the ground one of the times, he looked like what? Like he got hit with a mat. Look, this look crazy. Like he's seen a ghost or something. When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Like this look crazy. Like just as a picture to look at, this looks insane. Like he just battered you. Like literally, America is different. I try to tell you, bro. Like he literally battered you. So for me, I don't even really know where he goes from there, because beatings like that tend to stick with you. You know, I'm no doctor like saying this is what I'm wishing for him, but when you take punishment like that, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be the same fighter. That's a lot of punishment, a lot of punches. And it was like, I would fire my team. Why would your team allow you, when the fight starts to get away from you, why would they just allow you to continue? Like knowing it gets to a point where you don't really, you're like getting hit, turning your whole head like The Exorcist. You know what I mean? I really feel like, I feel bad because I feel it gets to a point where your corner, they really got to look out for you and be like, you're not getting this title today. And that's just it. And I feel like the corner probably should have stopped it before the referee, because it got to a point where Yarde was just, he's just looking like flabbergasted. Like the ref literally had to save him because he's a fighter, so he got heart and he wasn't going to give up. But sometimes the fighters are too tough for their own good, so you have to quit for them, you know, and wrap it up. Credit to Benavidez. He had a masterful performance. A lot of people questioned, oh, man, see, that's what I told you. Y'all don't know ish about boxing. Y'all was like, oh, he don't have no power at 75. You said David Morrell don't have no power at 75. They're not the same as 168. Give us some time. You're not going to knock everybody out. When he fought Alexander Vostik, he had him badly hurt multiple times. That's what it was. Just because he looked huge too, like Alexander Vostik. You're not going to stop everybody. But now y'all can't say nothing because he fought a big puncher, an experienced guy who had better names at light heavyweight than he, and he destroyed him. It looked like vintage performance at 168. So Benavidez, he moves on. But huge rookie it was a real rookie mistake by Anthony Yarde to languish on the ropes and then accept all them shots. 18 unanswered punches is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what you were saying to the ref where it's protect yourself at all times. You know what I mean? So if a guy's punching, even like I've seen this so many times, Berto kind of did this with Robert Guerrero. I've seen so many boxing fights where I remember these things. He's arguing with the ref. Robert Guerrero's punching. That don't really work. And I hate when fighters do that because you're talking, he's punching. Victor Ortiz pretty much did that with Floyd Mayweather. He headbutted Floyd, leaped off his feet, boom. Floyd got mad. He was trying to kiss up and make up, oh, I'm sorry. And he was overly apologizing. And Victor Ortiz lost a moment of mental lapse or whatever, lost focus, started looking at, what's his name, Conti or whatever, what was his name? The referee of that fight, Joe Cortez. He's pandering to him, looking at, oh, I'm sorry. Floyd, bop. Get him out of here. You can't do that. It's boxing. Protect yourself at all times. Again, no matter what you're saying to the referee, that should wait. Push him off you, spin out, run out, like cover up. Whatever it is, you can't be talking and your opponent is punching. Shane Mosley did it to Floyd Mayweather. And he was like, shut up and fight. Shut up. Floyd was like, shut up and fight. And I remember Shane Mosley was like, man, you you low, whatever he was complaining to Floyd about. Floyd was like, bop, like mid sentence, like you seen Shane was talking, and in the middle of talking, bop, and then Shane was like he looked like it was a cheap shot, but it really is not a cheap shot. It's protect yourself at all times. You trying to have a conversation, Floyd trying to fight. You know what I mean? So I didn't really understand that from Yarde to be posted up in the corner so much, and definitely not to protect himself when Benavidez was going ham with one hand. Like I've never seen that ever. I never seen someone throw that many unanswered punches unless somebody was like knocked out or something. And then hopefully it don't get to 18 punches. If you're knocked out on your feet, the ref should jump in and stop it. So credit to Benavidez. He moves on to fight Zordo Ramirez. David Benavidez, he's a beast. Now you see why I've been saying for years Canelo want no smoke with David Benavidez. I try to tell y'all, do you understand how greasy David Benavidez would do Canelo? Now it don't matter because allegedly Canelo trying to fight Crawford again. And for me, I feel like you have to rock with Crawford, pick Crawford again, you know, in the rematch. So we'll probably never get Canelo Benavidez. After that performance and then moving to cruiserweight is pretty much done. Canelo he didn't want to fight him before, making all these excuses, and all he brings is 15 pounds, and I don't fight another Mexican fighter that flags the same. No, I'm not even going through give me 250 mil, all this junk from Canelo. Now y'all see why. And that is what really happened. For more boxing news and educated breakdowns, intelligent breakdowns, and boxing content, subscribe. Shout out to the people on my watch party who signed up for StreamYard. If you want to take your streams to the next level, use my link in the description. Linktree, take you to all my links. StreamYard for the streaming, vidIQ or TubeBuddy for your YouTube videos. Look into it, link in the description, and that's what really happened. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.